we're going to be focusing on the E-mini. It's a 15-minute chart, and this is a 15-minute E-mini S&P 500, S&P 500 index chart. One of the things that we would like to clearly show you is that when the futures were breaking out on the last trading day of the month, which was on Friday, we hit that major support level. Now, the very same event happened over here in the 15-minute index on the S&P. You can clearly see that as we were breaking higher here in the futures and testing these support levels, but we kept making higher highs all the way up to the close. And that's this short-term trend line. And why are we looking at on a 15-minute period? Is when we do come up here, we do know that this 1265 area on the index is roughly the 200-day simple moving average. We talked about clearly how to use a short-term futures, trading the futures long and trading S&P index calls, and or having short side working like we did over here. That was the markdown on 12.8. You can see the markdown on 12.8 right here. And here's the top of that trend line of that markdown. It goes right over here. This is so basically what's going to end up happening is that these upper trend lines on the S&P, that the futures market rolls over and goes lower, then this is going to go lower. You will pull back. So how do I use the E-minis and trade the E-minis and use the E-minis as future looking movements in the S&P? We close very strong going into the close, and here we just have a weak close right up here at 1259. We closed in the negative on the really that print on the index. Now, having said that, when we're looking at the upper end of the futures contract here on the E-mini, this will ultimately be that top. We do know that by looking at daily charts on the very same instrument, so if I were to take a daily chart, which I'm going to put right here, and I take the futures contract and I throw it in here, here is your E-mini S&P 500. 200-day moving average, you're closing above it. Now, having said that, that's what the futures did. They closed above their 200-day simple moving average on that December contract. Now, if I were to show you that the futures are kind of forward-looking and a good gauge of using those as risk management tools, but however, using the gauge of the strength of the move. Here is the S&P 500 daily index coming right below the 200-day simple moving average. It's not above it because it's not as far as the index goes. It's going to be easy to gap that above there and pull that bull off the sideline, and you can get up toward the 1280 handle, 1288, right below the 1300 area. That would also put these futures right here on the daily chart. Let's go take a look at their highs, where the real reversal was. Right here at 1296, 1297 in the E-mini futures. And over here, well, when we go back up to the top, you're going to be right about the same area. 1296, it's going to be right up in these topping patterns on the index, on the S&P. What I am saying, until you can consolidate above the 1300 level, you won't hit our other upper levels. And we have upper levels on the S&P starting tomorrow morning. And we'll be watching both the futures market on an intraday level, and this is the daily level of the futures, closing above the 200-day moving average. And here is a daily chart of the S&P once again. Until I can close above, when you get above the 200-day moving average, there'll be a higher bull rally. You'll come up and challenge that top, and you want to blow through that top. That 200-day moving average can get you up to the 1320 area, 1325 area of the S&P. The bigger money will come off of that sideline and chase the calendar year move up. It is December, It is 12/11/2001. So for the bull case, you gap it up, you take the shorts out, you run back up to the higher resistance levels and look at getting net short at that point. That's the bull case. Gap up above it, pull the money off the sideline. The bears that didn't cover over the weekend have to buy the cover on the opening bell. And your daily futures will be gapping and taking out their daily resistance levels over here on the E-minis.